Yeah, mate. Look, I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times, I'm not having you on the show. You're not appropriate for my audience. Yeah, Monday nights at 8 o'clock, where I'm just about to go on live and you're ringing me. I mean, this is the 15th phone call this week. For Christ's sake, man, just don't ring me anymore. I'm gonna have to ring the police. I'm over it. Oh, no. Well, there we go. We keep getting phone calls. We're getting people wanting to come on the show. I can't have everyone on the show, but I have got two legends for you tonight, Josh and Dave. As you can see in that intro, they have got a wealth of knowledge. So get your questions in and start asking them because these guys know their shit. Listen, guys, we've got a heap of giveaways tonight. Again, we have to thank some people for, it's great when I'm ringing these guys up and asking them to come on the show and they're actually bringing product to give away as well. So I have to thank all the guests that bring something on. Josh is actually going to give away some J braid and some J thread later tonight. So when we do the round of questions and Josh picks somebody out, you will win whatever weight you want. So if you want 10 pound, you choose 10 pound, or if you want 50 pound, you choose 50 pound. So thanks, Josh, for that. Dave has bought on great value in this one, $100 voucher for a Duff rod. So make sure that if you want a custom built rod, you can get one done. That's $100 off, or you can buy one of his shelf products, which is $100 off. So thank you, Dave, for that. We are also giving away Boothy's box, which was donated a few weeks back. It's a beginner's box for cod lures. It's been a competition I've been running on my Facebook page. The winner has to be on tonight and answer within a minute that they want the prize to win that one. So that's Boothy's box. And we'll give away a postcode winner tonight. And also, I had a phone call about a half an hour ago. So Australian Freshwater Fishing Charters, run by Matthew Langford, close friend of the show, is actually going to spell a 4-word sentence in the comments tonight. So you need to follow the comments and work out the 4 words that he has spelt out. When he requests, you answer the question. First one in wins the prize, and Matty can tell us what that prize is later on. So thanks, Matty. We've got a few on already. Joshy, Vanessa, Dave's on watching. Mark, good evening. Richard, James, Scott, Rodney, Bo, Calissa, Ryan, Leslie. We've got some birthday shout-outs that I can't remember that right down on my sheet. There's got some birthday people out tonight. So without further ado, what I'm going to do is introduce my 2 guests tonight, which is Diamond Dave Welfare and Joshy Kopp. How you going, boys? How are we?
Hello, sorry, I'm just trying to start a watch party.
It's all right. You start the watch party. Josh, how you going, mate?
Good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Yeah, great. Thanks for being on. Now, you guys, as soon as Dave's stop fiddling around with his computer there, you're on? All good. I'm going to, you need to answer these questions as quickly as we can. I've worked a little sort of 15, 16 questions out to get what sort of type of person you guys are, so the people out there watching can understand who you are. So just blurt out the answer as soon as you think of it, and I'll give you. All right, we'll go through them pretty quick. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Coke. All right. Pizza shapes or potato chips?
Pizza shapes.
Oh, potato chips.
Oh, we got a word. Crocodile Dundee or Wolf Creek?
Crocodile Dundee.
Crocodile Dundee.
Oh, we got old school boys. Kanye West or Garth Brooks?
Oh, Garth Brooks, but neither.
I'll go Garth Brooks.
Garth Brooks. He's a bit slow on that one. Cod or Barra?
Cod. Barra, so it's got to be cod.
All right. Yeah, what have we got? Roast chicken or roast lamb?
Roast lamb.
Lamb, we got it. Tomato sauce or barbecue sauce?
Barbecue.
Aldi spicy barbecue.
Spicy barbecue. He's even added to it. There we go. And got the plug in for Aldi as well. Well done. We have bonfire or nightclub?
Bonfire.
Whiskey or rum?
Rum.
Mixed. Both. Fireball.
Fireball. A barbecue or a restaurant?
Barbecue.
Barbecue.
Cats or puppies?
Oh,
Puppy.
dogs. Dogs over cats.
Dogs over cats. We've got iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
iPhone.
iPhone. Read a book or watch the movie?
Both book then movie.
Ooh, Dave, the intelligent one. There we go. Spin stick or bait caster?
Depends what you've thrown.
Have you had to just use one for the rest of your life? Choose it.
Spin
Spin
stick.
All right. We've got scrunch or fold?
What was that? Didn't hear it.
Fold.
Scrunch or fold?
Oh, fold. Always fold.
Always fold. And night in with the girlfriend or night out with the boys?
You can't hear me, so boys. Anything.
For now.
Excellent. Hey guys, cheers. Thanks for coming on. We've got the camera right. We've got the Sydney Stubby Cooler. We've got the chill. So thanks for coming on. Listen, I do have to say it has been wonderful. We did a kids comp a few weeks back, and I gave away. I sort of extended myself. I thought I'd get 20 or 30 entries, and we got over 150 entries for the kids comp, and we gave every kid a lure or some sort of prize. And the response has been remarkable. The prizes are still arriving, so some of the kids haven't got them yet. But to write out 100 addresses, I've only made one mistake so far and set the prize to the wrong address, so that's pretty good. But we've got kids sending in photos and that. So next week I hope to bring up some photos of these kids that are holding up their lures, and they're as chuffed as. So kids in fishing, that's what it's all about. Guys, we did a bit of an intro on, what was it, Thursday night before you went away for a fishing weekend. Josh, how did your fishing go?
It was all right. I'd rather not catch one than lose it at the net, but anyways.
Yeah. So you made a crucial error. It must be because there's not enough time on the water.
Yeah, a bit rusty. It's been
A bit
while.
rusty.
I can't hear copy, Corey.
You can't just log out and log back in, Dave.
Will do.
And I'll pick you back up. So what have we got for you? Postcodes. Dave's turned sideways. We've got people from all over the place again. Matty's put his first letter up. So follow Matthew Langford in the comments. He's putting letters up as the show goes on. Prize is donated courtesy of Australian Freshwater Charters. So look at those ones. So Josh, while we're waiting on Dave logging back in, here we go. Bring him back on the screen. How's that, mate?
Good.
He's back.
Oh, yeah, no, I can hear him now.
Yeah, excellent.
Good hearing.
So I've got a couple of photos here that I wanted to talk about. I'll bring them in one at a time. Now, one of your close mates took this photo, but when I was going through your Facebook feed, which dam's this at, Josh?
That Burrinjuck up the Murrumbidgee Arm, I believe. AIC.
Yep. So that's a reasonably steep bank.
It was, yeah. It was pretty steep. There was just that timber holding off it. There was a fair few trees you could see and a lot of submerged trees underneath.
Yep.
So.
Yep, that's awesome. That's just one of the best fishing photos I've seen in a long time.
Jacko's a bit of a follows you around, takes good photos. He's an asset to have. It's good.
Yep. That's good to have. Always good to have somebody on the camera.
Yeah, pretty handy.
Now, Dave, this photo we pulled off your Facebook page here. Now, for the people that are out there watching, that is not a yeller. That is not a bass.
No.
That's a silver. Tell us about that catch, mate.
It's a Windermere silver.
Go on, sorry, mate.
Sorry, I'm dancing now. If you show that photo to a ton of people, a lot of people will know that it's a Windermere silver because that's just about as big as they get. Jesus.
Sorry, my son's trying to ring me. He obviously doesn't know that I'm alive. So.
Well, I don't even know where my phone is. I think that's Steve Duff in the background. It might be. It'd be Steve Duff. And yeah, it was 59 centimetres to the fork of the tail, so 60 whatever overall. And I had a good run at Windy. I think in 3 years I got 3 over 55 or something stupid like that. And it just went like stink. Absolutely went like stink. I didn't know what I had. Thought it was a cod. Then it was going too fast, and it was on an old before pre-ZX days. It was a TT Black Knight blade. So yeah.
That is just an amazing capture. So well done. Now I've got to learn how to work the screen. I'll pull that off there. And well, we're still talking to you, Dave, for a second. I've got a video here. I believe this is from the Mo tackle round. And would this be, we'll play the video and let you talk over the top of it if you want.
Yeah, sure.
So I'll bring this up and we'll hit this. So there's a fair bit of excitement in your voice on this video. And for some reason now it's not going to play. So
I've got it on the stream.
it is. Yep.
Yeah, it's there. Obviously, a bit of time delay.
Yeah, that's all right. We've got a little bit of delay, but.
Yeah, I didn't
Welcome aboard!
Oh, there it is.
There it is. So there was a fair bit of, that was a bit of an anticlimax for what that video was all about. But that was a fair, that's playing in the background now. That was a fair bit of excitement there. Tell us about what was going through your mind right at that point in time. Did you actually see the 10 grand in your pocket when you caught that fish?
Mate, not far off. It was, it was surreal because, Somerset, I'm from New South Wales, boy. So for anyone that doesn't know, it was the Mo Tackle Shootout, October before last. It was a skins format. You had to head-to-head with someone. You had to win your session, then win your session again, then win the last one against the last 2 men standing. And that fish and a couple of others in quick succession there were basically what locked it in. And there's people that fish a lot and fish a lot of tournaments. When you get on a roll and then you get confidence, you just know something really good's going to happen. I didn't know it was going to win it at that point, but it threw it into the confidence banks for sure.
So there was
monsters.
So that was the end of the season. Basically, everyone had fished, and you had to be in the top 12 or top 10 anglers of the AOY, and then you went head to head, and it was all done on the Sunday. You had to just go out there and basically catch those fish to win it.
All or nothing, fully sponsored by Mo Tackle, 10 grand on the line. It was just amazing. And to take it home, I was just, wow. Wow,
that's extreme. Now, I've got another one here for Josh. This is not a video, but a bit of action here from the Windermere Yellow Classic. Obviously, that 5 grand, does it go towards the boat, or do the boys take their share of that, mate?
Everyone splits it up, just go thirds in that one, and it all gets stashed away from the wives and girlfriends and goes back into the boat. Doesn't last long.
Yeah, that's the problem with this social media side of things. When you win those bigger checks, it's very hard to hide it from the missus these days. You used to go in the back pocket and you didn't have to worry about it. So, listen, that's probably enough of talking about you two right for now, because we've got some questions coming in. We've got, as I said, people from all over the place. We've got people picking on me for having my phone on again. All right, well, Rodney O'Sullivan, here we go. We'll go. Rodney said, what's Dave and Josh's favourite cod lure?
Oh, might be pretty similar to his, I reckon.
Yeah, well, basically, answer it. We'll go with Dave first. So you answer. You can be as long-winded as you want with the answer. You can say New South Wales. You can break it up. Just feel free to. It doesn't have to be just one lure.
my biggest cod came on a blade, a ZX blade, and that was out of Copeton, 97 or something, sitting on the back deck of the boat and came up between my legs. Second biggest one coming to spinnerbait, but you got to love the jackal range. So the gantrels, the gigantrels, and all that sort of stuff. I think they sell to fishermen, not to catch fish, but just because they look so freaking awesome. But yeah, that'd all be up there. But Duffy used to build a spinnerbait. It was an internally weighted spinnerbait, so it sort of hovered really nicely. And that's probably caught more cod for me than anything else. But yeah, biggest one's on blade for me.
Yep. Josh, you break it down for us.
All right. So time of year, if you're fishing in the summertime, where it's a bit more reaction based, it's pretty hard to go past anything bassman. So a big 1 ounce bassman spinnerbait with a big duck fin shad on the back. Really love that. Mumbler. 1 ounce mumbler with, again, a big duck fin or a big plastic on the back, anything like that in those warmer months when they're a bit more switched on to the reaction bait. That's my go-to there. But coming into these cooler months, it'd definitely be, like Dave said, anything from the jackal range are pretty safe. Gigantra will be my number one that I generally pick up, but other times I will go to a Gania or a Gantrel as well. And some of the more exotic baits like the bull shads, big fan of the bull shads as well. But yeah,
Yep.
Probably don't throw the bull shad in the situations I'll throw the other ones because just of the price range, that's all.
Yeah, no, and that's a decent question. Now, for both of you guys, because it has come up before, and you're both talking about gantrels and gigantrels and stuff like that, how much effort do you put into, say, changing the hooks on your lures? Do you go in for that, or do you leave them stock standard out of the box?
Pretty much. I won't throw a lure unless I've done something to it, whether that be hooks or rings. The jackals are coming out now with, I think they're ST58s. Really good hook. You don't have to touch those, but the rings are still upgrade. The rings to a 5H, I think they are. It's about a 5 times strong hook, about 44 kilos, 45. That's what they come in at the pound rating, it's kilo rating. And yeah, always make sure I upgrade those.
Yep.
Just have
You only lose a good cod once.
Yeah.
So you do the same, Dave? You pretty much hit the lures? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So looking for more questions. Keep the questions coming in, guys, because we are giving away prizes for questions. Maddie's actually put a question up here, which is quite a good one. Most reliable and consistent yellowbelly lure?
For me, it's the ZX40.
Yep.
For me, that's mine. Everywhere I've thrown it. Closely followed by the 1 litre mask over a Trans Am too.
Oh.
That's just, but yeah, that's me. ZX40 every day.
Josh?
If I had one lure to go to any dam in New South Wales to Yellowbelly, it's got to be a black gulp on a quarter ounce jigger. I know Dave's gonna squint his eyes up at this one, but really, if you look back at all the results,
Blurry Dam is the one dam that sort of puts a spanner in it all. Like, yeah, but
if you go back from in all the AYCs that have been like won in the last 3 years, and you had to lay it out, black gulp. That's what. It's not my favourite way to fish, but it is the most reliable way to catch a yellowbelly, I believe. So.
All right, so that'll lead into our next question, which is from Paul Langley, and he's asked about favourite colour for yellows. Now, do you go away from anything other than black?
Yeah, yes. I do. UV is my favourite colour for yellows, I believe. It doesn't really matter what colour the lure is, I feel, as long as it's got UV on it, exactly like that one Dave's holding up, that Min, or anything with a bit of UV. Even if it is a straight black lure, I'll still put an S factor on it or a UV pen. Generally at window, anywhere you go, you're always trying to look for a little bit of UV in there. I don't know if it's a confidence thing or they do react better to it, but you tend to catch a lot more fish when you're using something with UV on it. So.
Yeah, silent brown dog. Silent brown dog jackal too. Brown dog, if those that don't know, glows its nuts off under UV. So if people don't know, so yeah, grab a UV torch, run it over your tackle box. So there's Timmy Mutimer brings in all the big yellow time lures. So that's the Mazzy vibes. I remember sitting around a campfire at Pindari a very, very long time ago, pulled out the UV torch, shined it over everyone's jackal boxes, asked them what their favourite jackal was before I shined the torch on it, and every single one they picked glowed UV like nothing else. And brown dog was a standout. So grab a UV torch, check everything out.
So that's a really good point. So do you guys, obviously over time, you know what lures are actually glowing, but say for the beginner that's on the show that wants to learn off you guys, is that something they should have their kit? Just go and buy one of those $10 UV torches so they can work it out, in the time being until they get to know what lures are actually UV enhanced?
They're about $3 off eBay. You can just go on eBay and get one. I've got a couple laying around the boat and around the home.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely a kit to have. Real handy.
Yeah, anything chartreusey glows like nuts, but it's the ones you don't expect. It's the one like brown dog. You don't expect that to glow UV or any of the brown Fuji colours from Jackal. They all glow too. It's amazing. Grab a torch, just go for gold. Just walk around the tackle store doing this.
Dave, that's amazing. Like you just never stop learning. And I've only sort of been in the tournament scene for about 7 years now, and I'm forever learning. And I've always thrown the Jackal brown dog nearly everywhere I go, and never really actually shined a UV torch on it to see whether it was UV. So I've learned something today. So
S factor, that's a really little known trick. S factor glows its nuts off in UV. So that's one of the. I remember Mark Dunphy. So way back when, drunken night, actually at Windermere, I said to him, "Hey, Mark, you know that S factor glows under UV?" And he says, "Of course I do. We built the product, Dave. Of course we do." But no one knew. They were keeping it to themselves. No one knew. It was really good.
So that was part of their strategy to not tell anyone.
Whether they did or didn't want anyone to know, it was crazy back then. That's when it only used to come in the packs and with the plastics, and you'd buy every single pack of squidgies on special that had it in the packet just for the S factor.
Yeah, that's probably why I've used it for so long. All right, we'll go into the next question here from Mark Cook. Favourite setup for yellows, rod, reel, line weight?
After you.
All right. So if I had one rod to throw basically every technique for a yellow, it'd be a 701 ULS hyper rod from Daiwa and a 2,500 size Daiwa style reel with 10-pound J-braid and 10-pound J-thread leader. You'll cover pretty much everything from plastics to Trans-Ams on that rod. Obviously, if you're going to get a bit more technique specific, you're going to mix it up with a few different rod tapers and that sort of thing, but that would be my main go-to. I can drop that in the comments later if someone wants to check that out. Probably a bit hard to follow, but yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Now, do you find that, for a beginner and somebody that's out there that's watching the show that wants to go to Windermere in September and catch a few yellows, but they've only got a budget to buy one rod, so that's your suggestion, that one style of rod?
Yeah, and if you are that guy that's got a budget and he's looking to buy one rod, they're $129. So you can get a cheaper reel than that and get like an Ed for $99, or Kicks is a really good quality reel for $250. So you don't have to spend a lot of money to get a really good rod for a beginner these days.
Yeah, and that's what I say to everyone. Buy the best you can possibly afford. Don't worry about going out and spending $10,000 on gear. Just buy the best that you can possibly afford at that point in time. You can always upgrade later on. You see all these great deals on Marketplace all the time. What about you, Dave? What's your favourite?
I'm not a big fan of spending money on reels. I never have. I run, at the moment, every spinning reel I got is a Frems. So the Frems are I think you can get them for about $190, $200 range. But the reason I do it is because I like the shallow spilled reels. So if it's one rod only that covers a bit of crossover, I'd probably have to go. That's a 3 to 5. A 2 to 5 that'd do a bit of work across the board on everything. and that's the duff rods. Sorry, I'm rigged up for bass. I'm going bass fishing on the weekend. So that's the duff rods. It's called one of the bass multis, but it's really good in that bit 2 to 5. It'll still throw the lighter trannies or transams, masks, and all that sort of stuff. It'll work the blades, but if I was purely, and that's a 2508, so that's a shallow spilled Frams. If I was really purely sticking them as ZXs, I go to 1 to 4 brim rod, and that's with a 2004 size reel. Line, any of the good braids. I run Brim P Junior, but anything in the 8, 10, they're all, pretty good these days. And leaders, I go a bit lighter than most. I generally go 8 pound on the heavier gear and 5 pound on my lighter gear with blades. If we're talking yellers, they don't pull a kilometre of line off you, so you don't need it. And stuff, especially in open water when we're working weed edges like that. Timber's a different battle. You just lock it up and pull them out. But yeah, that's probably my favourite. I've got a really old Duff rods, my old brim gear that's got timber inserts in the reel seats. I've had this guy for, I can't tell you how long now, Duffy, his model serial number's like in the 2000s, so it's probably the best part of 10 years old. But yeah, and that, of course, there's the favourite. That's exactly what we do with them. But yeah, that's a 2004 Frams, dirt cheap. The only criticism I have with the Frams is that the drags can get a bit touchy, but they're easy to replace a washer. You can cut a carbon fiber one out.
Yep. Excellent. And there's another tip for you. So that's a great question. Thanks, Mark. Greg, we're going through favourite colour. Dave likes black like his men. All right. Here we go.
Who was that? Was that Beatty?
Potter. Potter. Yeah.
Potter.
All right.
Is there anything on my chin, Rich? Can you see? Is there anything there?
Melissa's another big supporter of the show, and she's written, in regards to fishing, why do you actually love to target yellowbelly over other freshwater species? And this is probably more based at you, Josh, because I know Dave does a bit. And I know you cover cod, but most of your tournaments are the AYC. I know they've branched out, or we're going to branch out this year into a bit of bass. Why does yellows do it for you?
I guess I live in Orange, so I've got so many dams around me that's quite close that are such good yellowbelly fishing. So really, it's just quite easy to get to the dam and target those fish. And if you're looking for a quick fish, that's the closest option to me. I've done a little bit of bass stuff. Bass are really cool, awesome fish. I would like to do a bit more, but that's about a 4-hour drive for me, where I can get anywhere else in about an hour. So yeah, it's always been that easier option. Definitely want to stop doing the things that I'm comfortable with and start branching out a bit. But and who doesn't really like catching yellows on the edges in springtime? Like, I'm at Windermere. There's not many weekends I'm at home in the springtime. Like, Windermere's such a good place to be at. So.
Yeah, I could live at Windermere for the whole month of September, I reckon. It's just, it is an insane place. I know, Dave, you've spent a fair bit of time. Dave, I think it was actually a chat we had at Boondooma one night where we'd had a few ales, and you were telling me about Windermere, and I sort of thought, oh, yeah, how big can these fish be? But it wasn't until 2 years ago I could go there, and they're insane. It's just a freak of a dam, Windermere.
Yeah, so it's the funniest thing. You go to Queensland and you fish with someone and you catch a yellow in a comp, and they're, mid-40s, and they're, look at the size of this yellow, and you just sort of go, okay. Go to Windermere. Like, that, until you see it, you don't get it. I remember Gary Harmon on the back of his Legend getting good yellow at Boondooma. And he was like, that's the biggest yellow I've ever seen. And it's like, mate, really? Like, dude, get down south. And everyone, like, if you go in that, you start thinking about it in September kind of stuff, and all the way up to, I don't know, mid-November. If you get the right week and the right few days, it is incredible. Like, I've caught 60 in an arvo, 60 in the morning. There was a week I got all up for the entire week was over 400 yellowbelly, and we're not talking little fellas either. Like, it's just mental, arm-numbing kind of stuff, and it's just so much fun.
Yeah, and as I said, I was from Queensland. I grew up fishing for fish down here, but when I moved to Queensland, you think, oh yeah, a yeller at 500 mils long is a donkey. And then you go to Windermere, and if you haven't cracked 600, it's not worth it. It's just crazy. So that will lead into the next question from a good friend of ours, Dave Simon Goldsmith, who is, if you've got one last Yellowbelly trip before you die, where do you go? Is it Windermere, or are you going somewhere else?
It takes me 2 hours and 15 minutes to get to Windermere. I'll see you then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to say it. Yeah, Windy has to be the one.
Yeah. And it's really that spring bite. Why is it that spring bite that works so well? Is it because of the spawning rotation that they get active, or why do the big fish? Because I know you can go there and catch yellows all year round, but the big fish seem to be during spring, or really the start of spring.
And it's how they eat. Like, yeah, once they get off the bloody trees and get back onto the edge, yeah, as you can tell, I'm not a tree fan. But yeah, when they're doing all that sort of stuff on the edges, mate, and it's just so much fun. Sight fishing, like you can get them on jerk baits, and they look so aggro, and they'll sneak up behind your jerk bait, and like they'll be intent, fins out, like it's almost like a pit bull just ready to kill something, and it's just amazing. It's amazing to watch.
Yep, Josh, you got a view on why that springtime? Is it because they've been so dormant during the winter in that colder water? What's the go?
I think you just that and you're casting that little bit bigger bait profile. So we're casting like 90 mil Transams and like 60 mil vibes and that sort of thing, a bit bigger. Those bigger fish seem to get up and get a bit more active, and I do find that August, I really want to say that, but August is probably the best month to catch a bigger, like that. Your plus 600 models will come in August or early September, and you do still get them September through to October, obviously. But I do find that if you're gonna go there trying to catch a real trophy size yellowbelly, you want to be there end of August, start of September. That's when the real big girls seem to be. I don't know if it's the small ones get more active and they'll beat the bigger one to the lure, because when, like Dave said, when you start fishing, you actually watch 2 or 3 chasing your lure sometimes. So I don't know if your smaller ones are getting a bit more switched on once that water temp gets up to about 18-ish. But you can catch yellowbelly there in 9-degree water. We've done it plenty of times on the edges. So yeah. I know people say 18, that's when they turn on and all this sort of stuff, but don't be scared to go there early, even if it is wintertime, and cast the edges. You will get fish. Yeah. And you will get big fish.
Yeah, Dave, you were saying, like, it is amazing to watch, and they do flare up, and they get really agitated, and you can see it. Their gill rakers come out, their fins come out. They try and make themselves look bigger than what they are. It's quite amazing to watch, isn't it?
Well, for the size of the fish they are, it's surprising how many can be in the same area. Like, and we've all got pretty good technology these days, but whether it's side imaging, down imaging, side scan, whatever you want to call it, you can see 40 fish in the space of nothing, and they're just stacked on fish, and you wouldn't even know. Like, no one else would know. You see the old fellow in the tinny just idling past, they wouldn't have a clue. There is that many in Windermere, and when they really get together, it's just a fun fest. It's incredible.
Do you find they're like bass where I know with the bass, especially the Queensland bass, they'll sit out in that deep water in a school in their perfect temperature and everything else, and then 1 or 2 will come up and feed, and as they're coming back, the next 2 will go up and feed, and they sort of keep rotating through in and out of that school. Do yellows do that, or do they all go in together?
I've seen them. I've been electricing along a bank in early October in 3 foot of water, uncountable numbers of yellows just there doing whatever they're doing, whether it's a false spawn up there, whether it's targeting eating, I really don't know, but the numbers are insane. It defies description. And you come off the water and you see someone, did you see, how many, like, it's just mental, the amount of fish.
Yeah. Now, Bo, to answer your question, yes, Matthew Langford from Australian Freshwater Fishing Charters is giving away a prize. So you've got to follow the letters in the comments to spell something out towards the end of the show. Here's a good question, Tim Bruce. So Tim's written, what's your go-to technique when the bite is tough in dams?
I'll get it, Dave. Don't worry. Everyone's probably sick of hearing the word Windermere, so I'm going to try and branch out all the answers a little bit. But if a bite's tough, generally everyone will pick up a black gulp generally and try and keep it in their face. But if it is tough, just slow it down. Plenty of pauses, that sort of thing. Just try and really slow it down. Just go as slow as possible. Big pauses, even pause for 2 or 3 minutes. That seems a bit crazy, but we've had fish eat it after 2 or 3 minutes just sitting on the bottom and just moseying along. They might even, when the dam was clear back in 2018, the water was gin clear. You could see down to 4 metres, and we actually learned a lot about how the fish react and feed in that short couple of weeks that it was clear. But sometimes you'd cast in front of one, you get him to follow, and you just sit it there, and he'd sit behind it, nose on it for a couple of minutes, and then just gills would flare out, and he's got it. So just don't be scared to go super slow. Try and slow blades. Yep.
I'm the same. Slow blades. I tell a story fairly often where I cast a blade and I was counting and I counted to 60 before I saw it get eaten. I got this mental image in my head of yellers that know something's come into their world and they're just doing this along the bottom, trying to find what the hell it was. And it's cold, they're not as active. They've got to take time to get it. But I think it depends on the dam as well. Blowering, I was there with Greg Beattie and we've been told horror stories and they're not biting, they're not eating, can't catch a fish to save our life. And everyone's throwing rattling mask and that sort of stuff. Rattling jackals, not masks. We started throwing the mask and we had all sorts of fun in really crystal clear water watching them eat it too. So it just depends. Some of the southern dams, you've got to go gulp, like bloody Burrinjuck, when they won't eat anything else. It's just gulping on trees.
And for people who don't understand gulping, just explain the technique for yellers, because bass are a little bit different when you're gulping for bass and gulping for yellers. Is it for somebody that's, say, got no fish finder and they want to go out there and catch a few yellers, it's tough, basically pull up to the biggest tree in the zone and drop it right down the base of the tree? Do you wind it fast? Do you wind it slow?
You tell them, Josh, because I hate the shit.
Right, so if you didn't have a sounder, and for years we fished like this without sounders before. I had a sounder, but I didn't know how to read it. So what I'd do is I'd just go to a line of trees, and I had marks on my line, and actually we were fishing in a comp not too long ago, and Mick Collison had the same thing. So I used to drop my line down and sort of mark it where I thought, or lay it out in the shed and mark it at a couple of metre intervals. So I knew how much line I had down, just with a bit of texture. So just put a texture mark like 1 inch on your line. So I'd drop it down the tree. And when you say the biggest tree, I try and find the biggest tree with the most of the tree under the water, because you're looking for structure. So don't pull up to the biggest trunk with the most tree at the top. Try and find a tree that's really submerged, because that's going to hold a lot of area for the fish to be in. Just pull up and just work that tree. So if that tree is 10 metres round, work it like a clock, sort of work it like 1, 3, 9 and 12. Just pick a few marks around it and just sort of work it, say 4 points, because the fish might be holding on one area of that tree. So if you're just pulling up and giving it 5 drops, so you're just dropping your gulp to the bottom, or whatever your depth you just think the fish are at, and just a really slow wind all the way back to the top.
No strike?
No strike. So if you are getting a bite, just try and just keep winding and just let that fish load himself up. Give it probably 5 drops in one spot and then move to the next spot, 5 drops. And you'll just work your way through that whole line of timber, and you will pick fish up. You don't need a sounder. It does make it a lot easier, but that is a really good way to do it. So you're just covering ground looking for those active fish.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of the old timers, like you'll see, there was a comp at Keep It, and there was 3 stands of trees almost in a triangle. We were on one, another boat on another boat on the other, and there must have been the same school, but they were just going between the trees, sort of like so. We'd get a fish, and 5 minutes later they'd get a fish, and then they get a fish, and like that, they will travel too. So if you're listening, you don't have sound, and you can't be stuffed. Just if you get one, hang out for a bit. You know, they tend to travel and come back to the same places because they've got to be there for a reason. You'll see clouds of shrimp on the sounders that we've got now. In some of the waterways, you'll see clouds of shrimps hugging tight to the trees, and there's the theories about little shrimp, and then reddies eat the shrimp, and then yellows eat the redfin. So that sort of happens, and you can see it on the sounders now. No dramas whatsoever.
So is it the profile of the gulp? Like what would stop you from slow rolling a mask up the trees for the same result? You
Guys do it. Yeah, we were doing that with masks before anyone knew about gulp. So it's not saying it doesn't work, but gulps, they work better. Like they're just so effective.
Yeah.
Right. Whatever's in that scent, I'm not sure, but I've tried lots of different plastics. There is a lot of plastics that do work. Siemens do work. Again, you're just going to put your S factor on in replacement of that scent. That works. Obviously, you got your UV and you got your S factor scent, but it's just really hard to go past the gulp grubs. So it just work.
Yeah, excellent. Ricky Mundy's written here, what tip do you use for keeping yellows alive in your live well?
2 slabs off the side in the esky. No, catch and release. Well, it depends. These days, I pretty much needle every yellow that comes over the side of the boat just to release the air out of the air bladder. And if those of you that don't know how to needle fish, spend 5 minutes Googling and you'll know how to do it rather than me trying to explain it. You've just got to know how to do it and have it demonstrated you do it properly. The other one is I've kept probably half a dozen yellows in the live well almost all day. They don't like hot water, so if you've got the opportunity, throw a couple of ice bricks in. Other than that, there's something called Rejuvenate, which it's like Yellowbelly Speed. It works really well on bass as well. It's this green powder that you put in your live well, and it's got enzymes and stuff in it that helps keep them alive. But they'll last pretty well as long as you definitely know how to needle them and fast. Don't think about it. Don't put them in your live well and then half an hour later go and have a look and they're on their side. The barotrauma's almost already got them. So, needle them as soon as they come over the side, even if you think they don't need it, because they will need it.
Yep. You the same, Josh?
Yeah, they're awesome points. That's basically all I got. But when you say ice blocks, just freeze some 600ml water bottles. They'll last in your live well a lot longer than some ice cubes will. So a nice 600ml water bottle, just fill it so it's like a couple inches from the top and freeze in. That works a treat. Like Dave said, the temperature will kill them just as much as the barotrauma. So just trying to get that water temp down in temp, because your boat's obviously sucking in the top metre of water, and you're catching fish, say, 8 metres down. So that water temp's a massive difference.
Being a student of the sport like we all are, and I get on and watch YouTube and everything else, I think I was watching a video from Edward Evers yesterday, and his new boat has actually got a cooling system in his live well. The newer bass boats from the States, I believe we were talking earlier about the newest Skeeters and all that, they're actually coming with cooling systems built into the live well. So that's insane, how, we're going to have to carry massive batteries. It's
money, for those boys, if they lose fish, it's money. It's
and big money,
It's not as bad for us. We lose the yellow, but
it's a bit like have you ever got in bed and forgot to put the bins out on a winter's night and had to run the bins out in your undies?
This back when he had a mullet too. I think it was one of those photos earlier, wasn't it, where he had a mullet?
Yeah, there was a few of them, beardless and mullets. All right, Ryan Bates, here we go. What's your most memorable yellow catch and what techniques did you catch it on?
After you, young fella.
Just trying to have a think. My most memorable yellow catch probably wasn't one I caught. It was one I saw a mate catch. We were fishing in an AYC back in 2018. It was a spring round, and that was back when that water was that gin clear, that crystal clear. And at this point, I'd never been in a team that had won an event. Sunday morning, the old head of the boat, Andrew Fulbrook, said, we just need one fish. There's no point catching numbers. We just got to catch one big one. And one big one should be enough to not keep us in front. So we went back to a bank that you could see the fish, and there was plenty of fish on there. We're just cruising along on the electric, and he said, just look for that one. He said, look for one that impresses you. And there was this big fish just poking along, and I was like, that one, that's him. He cast a little gulp grub out in front of it because they weren't, the transims are kind of spooking them in the clear water, but they'd eat that really small profile bait. So he chucked the gulp in front of it, and it was sinking down right in front of its face, and the wind blew the boat a little bit. So he was out of view, and I was still standing in plain view, and the gulp had just flooded down beside its cheek, and the fish turned around, gills come out, and I said, you got him, and it just sucked it in, and the rod loaded up, and it went nearly 6 kilos. So yeah, that was a pretty cool fish to watch it all up. Just the situation in which it happened, that would be it, I'd say.
It's funny that the tournament winning ones are the ones that stick in your brain. My best yellow 640, but the one that really stood out was I was fishing with Matty Smith at Burrendong in an AYC, and we were doing really well. And I think we were literally needed our last fish, and I was really almost certain we were going to win it. And we were grubbing, as much as I hate it, grubbing with stingers on some really spindly little sticks. And it was on the death. I hooked one, and it went around the sticks, and it took my rod tip with it. So my rod tip was wrapped around the sticks, and it's peeling line. I'm trying to feed it around the trees, and we ended up getting it in, and it did. It pushed us over the edge, and we won it. So there, and more power to the Duff rods for the strength to handle twisting around sticks. But yeah, the ones that win your events are the ones that really set you into your brain. I've got probably a dozen fish that are exactly the same, like that one bass or that one bream, or that really, pushes you there.
Yeah, and that's it. Sometimes I find that it's not actually your catch that does it. It's whether it's a team's event or whether you're just social fishing with a mate and they catch their biggest. It just makes the world of difference. Listen, I'm going to give away first prize tonight. The postcode winner tonight is going to win a Cutafara. There we go. So in deep diver. So that one there, and the postcode winner for tonight is Jake Amberge from Orange
boy.
So there's the winner for that one. So Jake, if you can send through a PM to Corey's Dam Fishing with your address, I'll get that posted out this week for you. So that's prize number 1 done. We've still got more to give away. Matty Langford's still on the feed there, giving away some letters that are going to spell a couple of words. We've got some J braid and J thread. Josh is going to give away later on, and we've got that $100 voucher for the Duff rods. So I'll go and find another question.
Sorry, I'm getting a beer.
You do that, Dave.
Yeah, professionalism at its best.
That's what we're here for. This is why it's called Chewin the Fat, because it's just like we're sitting there chatting. We don't, just have a bit of fun with it. So Simon Jackson, here's a good one. View on weather patterns, pressures, and that sort of thing for yellers. Who wants to start with that one?
I'm an old fella, so I've got my thoughts. But you want to go, or can I go?
You can go.
There's the eternal 10-20 fish aplenty. Like, that's barometric pressure. I don't. For me, I've liked the consistent high, not necessarily one bolting up. We used to put a lot of faith in the Maori tide charts. Now, that sounds a little bit weird considering that there's tides in dams, but it's happened too many times to not be a little bit valid. So I had and it's still in a box somewhere. I had an old Casio fishing time watch, and you set it for your latitude and longitude, and that's basically translated all the Maori tide times into a bite window. And it worked too many times on inland waterways for it not to have something going right. So most of the time we're going fishing, so we don't have a choice about particular bite windows. But there has been times when I've rolled over in the morning, seen it bucket down with rain, knew it probably wasn't going to be spectacular, and you just go, okay, I'll sleep in a bit. But sort of a steady high air pressure. In terms of other weather like sun, rain, whatever, yeah, we've caught them in everything. Early, sometimes late, but sometimes, especially when it's colder, the middle of the day, but spring, earlier, later, yeah.
Yep, Joshy, what about you?
The last 2 years I've kept a diary or an Excel spreadsheet with my data from my cod and a few sample yellow trips, and I can't pattern it really. At moonrise, moonset's probably the closest thing that you can get like bite times on, but as far as pressure, wind, anything like that, you're not going to catch them if you're not fishing. So yeah, it's just, and one of the blokes I used to, or still fish with, Mick Collis, and he said to me once when we're in the boat, he said, there's always fish going off at some point in the dam, like at some part in the dam. And you might be in a tough comp where it's super tough and you're trying everything and you're not catching fish. And there's always a team that brains fish. So if you are out there and it is tough, just keep in mind that there's fish going off in that dam somewhere. So definitely stick with it, I believe.
Yeah. And I agree. Like Mick, he would catch a fish in a bathtub, so he tends to have the ability to catch those yellows. I'll give him that. All right, looking for another question, and I suppose on that topic, while I'm looking for a question too, is if you chuck somebody a piece of dirty old corned beef and keep throwing it at them, they're not interested in it. But you hook a piece of Mars bar on and put it in front of them, they're probably going to eat it. So the fish are the same. Finding that right thing at that right time definitely does help.
Well, it's a funny thing. Like it's different now, but back before blades and Windermere in particular, we used to do a lot of lead and follow. So somebody would be working a spinnerbait and they get hit, and you put a little hard body in straight behind, and you get the fish. So same things sort of still apply, particularly when you're working blades and masks. If you miss one, you just don't say anything because your mates might go in and get it and sort of shit. So that's, and you work them all the way to the back of the boat. You miss a bite, same spot. Whether it's him or his mate, you just don't know. But it's pretty often that you'll get them.
I still do that when we're fishing for cod, especially in the comps where you're working together with the other guy on the boat. Is lead and follow, and I don't think it's done enough. I know Langers and I used to do it a lot, even fishing for the bass, doing the same thing. One would cast in and then the other one would come in behind, especially in the rivers with the surface and the subsurface for the bass.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's look for another question. And Nick Brown, another follower of the show. Where will you guys be going for your first overnight fishing trip once camping restrictions are lifted?
Have we had restrictions?
Oops. Got to remember, Nick's from Victoria, so we get that out. We're going to the 6 days, yeah.
Glenbourne, it's already planned.
Yeah.
Wyangler, yeah, chasing a few cod.
And Glenbourne is going off its head at the moment too, Dave. I'm seeing lots of reports from.
I was there last weekend. I'll be there this weekend, and I'll be there the weekend after.
And Josh, I was watching the
weekend before last. I was there. Last weekend just gone. I was working. This weekend coming, I'll be Glenbourne and after again.
And Josh, I've seen the reports for Wyangler on I think it was one of the Wagga Facebook pages. They reckon it's firing its head off as well.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I thought they closed it because of the algal bloom. Isn't it closed for the foreseeable future?
On Saturday, mates went up River and got 4 over a metre between the two boats and a couple other really good fish. We went a different river arm and we both got live scope. You can see the fish, what they're doing, and you cast them baits right to them. Totally different bite, different river arms, different bite, totally different. So yes, they might be sort of chewing their heads off one day, but we both went back there on the Sunday, fished the same river arm that they slayed them in the day before, and it was really hard to get any interest out of them. So it's just one of those things, definitely day to day.
Yep. Now I'm getting a few comments here. The boys are laying into you guys in the comment section about about a fair bit of stuff, which I won't be bringing onto the screen because we do have children watching at the same time. But Lang, as I am having a few people, if you're on there listening, I'm having a few people actually following you more than writing questions. So make sure that you're still putting your questions in so we can ask these guys all about yellows. Let's go on to cod for a minute. Orange, I've never really considered it as a venue to visit and go fishing. What are your local waterways here, Josh?
So when we're in Orange itself, we got Burrendong's about 50-minute drive. Then you got Windermere's 2 hours 15. Wyangla's about 2 hours. Burrinjuck's about 2 or 3 hours. So we're sort of a hub. We don't have anything really local, but we're really close to going to any dam. So we're in a pretty good spot.
The Burrendong, wasn't that really low in the last 12 months, and they've had a little bit of a push in?
So in Christmas time, it was about 1%. They were looking at doing a bulk transfer from Windermere into Burrendong via the Cudgegong. Thank God that didn't happen, and we did get the rain, so it's back to 21 and is rising at the moment. Been doing a little bit of work out there, and it's looking pretty good.
So
hopefully good.
How do they go with the fish? Do they restock that after it gets so low, or still 1%'s a lot of water?
1%'s a lot of water. I think Burrendong will be fine. There was a lot of fish getting caught still. At 1%, you've still got a bit of a river, and you've still got a lot in the basin. I'm not sure how deep it's fishing, but that'd be a good example to see how a dam recovers from being so low to getting the water back in it. But I haven't heard of any bulk fish kills or anything from keep it. So Burrendong was the same. We had a few little fish kills, but nothing too bad.
Yeah, Keeping's a funny one. It's we've always got the river, so there's always fish in the river side of it. But a lot of meat fishers in Keep It. They take a lot of fish out of it. So I've never really caught a lot of big yellows there. We get lots of little ones. So yeah, the other dams, who knows? We just don't know what's going to happen yet.
Yeah. All right. So we've got another question in now. Trent Kane has put up there, do you think putting yellows back after catching them will shut down that spot because he doesn't have a live well? There you go.
If you're on a tree and you're gulping and you're catching yellows, maybe just drive out, like on the electric 10 or 15 metres, and then put them back in and then go back into your tree. Don't try and drop them straight back on. But short answer, no. I'm going to say no because
On in open water, no dramas whatsoever. Trees, same. You don't whether it's subconscious in yourself. It doesn't feel right dropping one straight down because you're worried about them putting them down. I don't know, but yeah, I've never really seen it happen. Yeah.
Yep. Excellent. Listen, Lang has put another good question in there, so it's relevant to what we're talking about, so I'll bring it up. Do yellows have seasonal movements for anglers going summer, winter, etc.? Where would you look first, and what areas would be most productive?
So if I'm going to use Windermere again, but this is a prime example of a really easy dam to kind of read. When you put your boat in off the trailer, drive it back, and while you're waiting for your mate, look on your sonar and see where the thermocline is. You find the thermocline, you can basically go anywhere around the whole dam and find fish holding on that thermocline. That's just Windermere for that example, but rule of thumb for myself, and our fish are all different, but I'll try and always have a good look at where the thermocline is in any dam for any fish that I'm catching, because that's really where the bait should be. And if you're following bait to fish, I think that's a really good place to start. Just find that fish hug that thermocline at Windermere so religiously, it's just too hard not to go past. And if they're doing it there's no reason why they wouldn't be doing it somewhere else.
Yeah. And I think of them, you do that translation to what you like. So in the guts of summer, it's stinking hot. You don't want to be up near the surface on the edges. They're just going to be cooking. Similarly, in the guts of winter, they're not going to be in 100 foot deep. So it's early season, spring stuff. They get up and they feed, and that whole spring, everything happens in spring. So the bait start to come out, the little fish start to breed. And if you think bait fish and think about where the bait are, that's where the fish are going to be too. So, yeah, if you only had a rod and you could fish off the bank, you'd start to think about shallow edges versus deep edges, and where they're going to stage depending on whether it's spring, winter, summer, all that sort of stuff. I don't like fishing in the guts of summer; it's too hot.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable for you and the fish. Listen, I'm going to give away another prize. We're going to draw Boothie's box. This has been a competition I've been running on my Facebook page for the last couple of weeks. Boothie actually donated a tackle box full of different lures, which will cover anyone from the basics. And if you can't catch, as it was said in the comments, if you can't catch a cod with at least one of those lures, you're doing something really, really wrong. The competition had 5 rules you had to follow to win the competition. So there wasn't actually many people that actually followed the 5. There was a lot of people who followed 3 or did 4 or only did 1. So it was it got down to just a small few that was in the running for the winner. And I said that you had to respond within a minute of me actually calling the name out. And the actual winner was Mark Cook. So, Mark, if you can get on, you have 9:01 now. You have till 9:02 to say you want the prize. Otherwise, it's going to the next person.
I don't know if I want Boothie's box. Do we really want Boothie's box?
Oh, it's a good tackle box anyway.
Tackle box.
Tackle
okay,
box.
sorry. Glad you cleared that up.
Hurry up, Matthew Langford. It's past my bedtime. Let's go.
Cool.
You stumped me. Hint, please. They're all asking me hints. They're all following Langers. There you go. Mark's on. He's answered it. You've won that prize, so I'll get your address later on. Let's go. Ricky Goward's given us a question, so we'll bring this one up. Ricky's a great supporter of the show as well. So do you think the structure in the dam holds different size Yellowbelly?
I do. This is an interesting one. It was only before gulp. Right, so before gulp on trees, we hadn't caught small Yellowbelly at Windermere. We didn't even know where they were, how they did, what they did. And it was only when the first AYC comp started to happen and some of the southern fishers hit Windermere and gulping or plasticking trees, getting smaller yellows. So having said that, you can get monster yellows off trees as well, but in those days, we hadn't really seen little yellows on because we'd only ever done edge fishing, and that was what we went to Windermere for. So for me, I like probably a mix of rock and weed, and if you get it in the right witching depth, which I tend to think about 15-ish to 20-ish feet, that's thrown some really good yellows at me over the years fishing edges. Trees, gulp trees. Josh didn't have gulping trees. I don't know.
Go for it, Joshy. What do you reckon?
I'm going to say a really bad answer here. I'm going to say not really, because I've caught big fish on banks and trees. But I think if you tie this question into the last question, where you look for what structure would hold fish, but bigger fish in seasonal conditions. So if you're going to be looking for bigger fish in the right season, you go springtime edges. That's where you're going to catch your bigger Yellowbelly. If you're going out to the trees, it's literally a lucky dip and what you're going to get most of the time. Like Dave said, the bigger fish do hold the edges more so than the smaller ones, but the trees, they will hold both. Yeah,
so it makes sense. It's logical. Like there's not many predators in the dams, and there's not many predators in dams that are going to take on a 50+ yellow. Like there's nothing. What's going to do it? Even if you do see them bird scars, you do see them scarred up from shags or whatever. But yeah, those big fish, they're not scared of anything in the shallows.
Yep. Now, here's leading into what you were just saying then, Josh, about the weed and when they're up on the edges. VB Vanessa Bennett's got a really good question here. Will you catch yellows surface fishing?
Yes. I haven't, but I spoke to a few guys that have, more so on the rivers, but no, not myself.
Only bycatch for bass. So I've caught probably a dozen yellows on surface, but only while trying to get bass. I've never caught them on surface at Windermere deliberately. Don't know why, but yeah, I've tried, but never caught them deliberately. But Glenbourne, St Clair, we've got them there, and there's a few videos floating around too. I think Peter Phelps, I think, put some stuff on catching yellows on surface as well. But yeah, it's only bycatch for bass. There's got to be a way. I always believe there's got to be a way, but you don't even. At Windermere, it's not like you'd turn around and go, "Oh, geez, that was a yellow taking something off the surface." Like you don't get that feeling at all. Redfin on some of the other dams, they're taking stuff off surface. I don't know whether at Burrinjuck you'd get yellows doing it, but yeah, it's an interesting one. I think there'd have to be a way to do it, but yeah, I don't know.
It's not the answer to the question, but the weirdest thing I've caught a yellow on is a gigantor. Like at Windermere, they eat them. They love them. The biggest swim baits, they really smack them.
Yeah, look, and I agree with you. I've caught yellows at my whaler on big gigantrals, and
I don't think they're trying to eat them.
No, they're trying to piss them off, get them out of their area. But
I think they're trying to make baby gigantrals or something.
Yeah. All right, there's Shane Eastman. Have you ever had a cod have a go at a yellow that you've had on? So you bring the yellow up and the big cod's come out and had a bit of a go?
I haven't. I've seen it. I've seen videos and I've been told stacks, but I personally haven't.
Seen videos. There was a fishing show on TV once, and it was Windermere. It was actually Limestone Bay. You come into Limestone Bay, it's that bank on your left, that steep rock wall. It might have been Gatsby's show, maybe. And they actually had like a massive cod come up and try and smash one, but not myself. Not that I know of, anyway. I've lost a few, maybe.
It happened at a Copeton Yellow Comp. I know that. The boys came in shitting themselves because it happened. But there's a couple of YouTube videos that happened, but I haven't personally had it happen. You've seen there was footage at Windermere of live scope in the trees where the cod was chasing, the yellows all disappeared all of a sudden and didn't know why, and then all of a sudden the big cod comes staggering through. But yeah, I haven't had it happen. I've heard it happen to heap.
I think wasn't a yellow eating it, but there was a cod eat a cod at the Nationals a couple of years ago, and the question was, do I get to count both fish, because one was illegal and one was massive, and I was trying to work out whether it was in the rules that it's actually two fish, because some people were saying it's live baiting if the bigger cod ate the little cod, and there was a bit of controversy on that one.
Give it to them.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would.
Every day. It's not like you're going to get like a 25 centimetre, 30 centimetre yellow and put a 6-0 in the back of it and swim it back out again.
That's right. Here we go.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, no. Big Sump, any new techniques that you've been working on that could be successful to catch yellows?
No, I'm not the same that either. I really haven't fished for yellows that much in the last couple of months. I've been focusing on some other stuff, but no, not really. Since the Transams are kind of getting to that end where you think there's going to be something new come out, but it'll just be basically a race to see who gets there first, I guess. I've always thought that the next big thing is going to be more American orientated, so it's going to be like your plastics and all the stuff the guys are throwing for bass. It's got to catch yellows here. So just whoever wants to put it into play first and spend the time, I think they'll really get the rewards on it.
Yeah, it's funny. It's when you hear about, so jigs is one of the latest sort of bass fads all over. It's not that late if you knew about it a while back, but go back even 15 or so years, and guys like Dean Hamilton had a really good run on, I think it was a hair jig. He used to tie a hair jig. I know Glenn Stewart was using jigs on yellows a very long time ago. And everything's a little bit cyclical too. I think for me, I focus on how I like to catch fish, not necessarily what's going to catch fish. So I love jerkbait. So that whole springtime bite for yellows, I want to spend a lot more time working out how to catch them better on jerkbaits because it's so much fun to do. I've got half an idea, but I haven't worked them right out yet. So that's something I really want to drill down a lot on coming into this season. I hope we get the time to spend on that. But in terms of something groundbreaking, I don't know. there's a lot of scope for fly, but I don't know how. Plastics, I know a lot of guys did really well a couple of years back on Nemesis and curltail plastics in a bit of a different way than anyone had been doing. What's going to replace, whether it's Trans Ams or even blades? I've got no idea. Yeah.
I think the next big thing for Yellowbelly is just sort of starting to come out now, and it's not a lure. And I'm not sponsored by Garmin, but it is a Garmin Live Scope. I think that's the biggest thing that's going to hit the market in the next, lately. Sort of maybe in the next, who knows what they'll come out with, but I think that's the game changer at the moment for targeting yellows. Like the things you can do on that, I think that's the next big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, technology plays a part. Big time.
Yeah. Hey guys, Matty's decided that it's time. He's given all the letters out, so we're going to call, and Matthew is the judge of this, so it's his prize, Australian Freshwater Fishing Charters. The words are already up there, so whoever answers correctly, Matthew will get in contact with you and give you your prize. So I don't even know what it is. I just know that it's 4 words. So there we go. Now, you did mention this, Dave, before, and it did come up in a question, but I haven't been able to find it since, about fly. Why wouldn't fly work for yellows?
It does. But it's not. It's like I'll parallel it to, say, the early days of brim tournament fishing, right? So, it was effective. It catches, but it doesn't. As far as I can work out, it doesn't catch better or easier than anything else. So, if you've got tons of time social, go for it. But in a tournament environment, yeah, it'll catch, but you'll be outfished 6-1 on gulp or 10-1 on Trans Ams, depending on what the bite's like. However, fly, I think, can get good fish. I've seen that happen. And there's plenty of guys that just go to Windermere and fly fish the banks, and you'll see them if you're there the right time of year, and they get some really good fish. So there's probably scope in it to try that. Maybe throwing fly. You could run a fly trailer off a lure. There's no dramas on doing that. It's illegal depending on how many hooks you put on your lure. But it's definitely worth investing the time. But when you're tournament fishing, just even casting fly takes time. So it's a tough one.
Yep. All right. There is plenty of people that are getting it close or close enough. So Matty's got to decide who was the first for that one. I'll leave that all up to him.
What did he give away?
It was some atomic gear, I believe. He said some stuff that he gives away on his charter. So it was atomic hat and some other stuff, bits and pieces. So listen, we've got a few people. We've still got a few people on. I want to give a shout out next week. We've talked old school with Dave tonight, and we'll continue to do that. But next week I do have Rod Harrison on, so the singleted guru himself. So Rod Harrison's going to be on next week. We're going to talk all things barra and fly fishing next week. So keep those fly fishing questions coming in for next week.
Yeah, Rod's done plenty of fly fishing at Windermere too, so he knows his shit there.
Yeah, well, that'll be a good one. So well done, Paul Langley. Please PM Corey Sanford. There you go. Paul Langley won the prize. So Shane Eastman, here we go. There's another question. Have you used live target hollow crawls? Have you seen them? Have you used them?
Yes, I have.
I saw them at after. I said to Jacko, I'll pick one up, and I was like, these are going to be it. This is the new thing, which was that last comment. But I did throw them a lot last year, and I haven't caught a fish on them. I don't think I've even got on them, to be honest. But yeah, when I picked it up, I thought, this is it. That's the perfect yabby, the perfect size. That's going to be the bait. But I don't know if it's just me, but I haven't had even a touch on them. But yeah, not to say they don't work.
Mate,
but,
I reckon in I'd say since it'd be almost 20 years, I have thrown that many different styles of crawl plastics at Windermere at those fish for stuff all result. And I don't know why, because we know jigs work. We know blades work. Blades have to be some kind of crawly kind of hybrid. Trans Ams, same thing. Like dark Trans Ams, what else are they going to take it as? But I don't know why. It's bizarre. I had some really old, what were they? Gold Pulse, something like whatever they were, way back when, from a bargain being the Bass Angling in Penrith here. And I gave them a crack. They looked beautiful. It stood up, perfect, nothing. So I don't know. There could be a way. There could be a way that's better. I think there's been a couple of YouTube videos of people catching yellows on the live target high crawlers, but I can't work it out. And whether they catch better than something else, no.
Yeah, they look absolutely amazing, and I agree. As soon as I seen them, I'm having a couple of layers. I went in the tackle box and haven't caught anything on them. You get a little piece of metal and you throw it out there and sit it on the bottom, and they freaking pick it up and eat it. You know that's fishing, isn't it?
Yeah. There's a couple of what's that? The live target, that lipless crankbait they've got with flippers on the sides, and you think, oh, that's awesome. That's going to catch. No. I'm not knocking their lures, because some of the other live target stuff is brilliant. Some of the schools of little fishies in the one lure, that's done really well up north for me. But yeah, amazing that it looks so good.
Yeah. Now, as we'll go, Joshy, have you seen a question tonight that's really popped out of your head that you want to give your prize away to yet? I'll get you to go back through the question.
I'll scroll back through.
Yeah, have a scroll back through while I bring the next question up, which is from Jerry Ison, I think it is. So, best technique for yellows in dirty water. So Dave, you go with that while Josh is having a look through the questions.
It depends what the definition of dirty is, whether we're talking river or river muddy kind of stuff, or just cloudy dams. River muddy stuff, you just got to keep something contrast, whether it's big lures, trans dams, whatever. That's and a bit of vibration in there. In the dams, gulp works. Like, no matter clear, dirty, I don't know what it is, but gulp just friggin' works, and I hate it. And I don't hate gulp. I don't. I've had a love-hate relationship with it over the years, but yeah, gulp's a pretty good one for that. I haven't had much luck on Trans Ams in dirty water. Josh probably got a better answer than me, but blades in dirty water work, but yeah, not so much Trans Ams for me. But yeah,
if it's dirty water, I'd probably look to something with a bit of rattle, like TN60. We haven't really covered too much of the old TN60s, but I think they caught fish so well for so long. A lot of people sort of started using other stuff, but I do believe that they would still catch fish just as well if they were used just as much. So TN60, it doesn't have to be a TN60. It can be any lipless crankbait, but the old rattly lure, dirty water, it's a pretty good mix.
And not a lot of people know about runoff into dams, and how yellows can really push into any kind of runoff when it's muddy as hell in that runoff water. So the two that I've done really well on is that little guy right in tight. That's a little atomic. I don't know, someone will remember the name of that one. And if I find it, a similar kind of lure, but in an old, that's that black one there. That's the Daiwa Presso, I think Presso Minnow from God knows how long ago. Same go. So that's both ends of your spectrum. Yeah, in that really run-in, murky, tumbly kind of rubbish water, but they've worked well. And I'm trying to work out jerkbaits more too, so I spend time doing it.
Yeah. Do you have a brand preference on jerkbaits? Like, some people will just use one brand. I know you've got atomics there. I've got a heap of those little atomics you might get.
Oh, they're brilliant value. Mate, the other one that does well is a squirrel. So that squirrel, the pink eye Suji, as I was saying before, glows like nuts. This guy's had a bit of water in him, so you can see a bit of rust going on there. But it's copped a pounding. I'd hate to know how many yellows this thing's caught. And I run the stingers on it for Windermere in particular, because Windermere gets a lot of slime, weed right in tight, and it loves every kind of treble you can put in the water. So that's not so much about helping to catch fish; it's just helping to avoid slime. But yeah, that guy really well. I'm really good up there.
Yep. Same with you, Josh. Have you found a winner yet?
Yeah. I'm going to go Trent Kane for putting the yellows back after catching them after they've been shut down. That's a pretty good question.
All right. So, Trent, if you're still on, send me a message to my Facebook page and with your address and your details, and I will forward them on to Josh to be able to send your prize out. So that's awesome, Dave. Well, we're still flowing through. We'll give you a prize away in a minute, so you keep looking at the questions. We've got a good one here from Nick again. Now, I think we can take the actual money equation out of this question. So we're not talking Bassmaster Classic because it's the richest tournament in the world. If you could win any tournament in the world, what would it be?
Jesus.
I've already done it, Windy Classic.
Yeah, well, we both won that. Yeah.
Just, I don't know, if you grew up around here and you fished that tournament a few times before you've done any good, it's just ends up being your favourite weekend. So it's not so much, I guess, about winning it. It's more about, to have your name on that big trophy that you looked at for so long. I reckon that's pretty cool.
The Classics.
Yeah.
It's an amazing event. When it used to, back from about the 2000-ish sort of era, it was the last event of the year. So you'd have all these brim comps or all these bass comps, and it was always on the first weekend in November, and that was the last one. So you would just absolutely run amok, and it wasn't necessarily about winning it, but it was just that end of year, catching up with blokes you hadn't seen in a year, having so much fun. And then every now and again you get a decent result and think, geez, I can have half a crack at this. And then over time, I'd done, winning that was probably right up there with some of the best events you could possibly ever win. And it was, I always say, if you're going to win, if it's your turn to win, you're going to win. Nothing can go wrong. That event we won, I blew an impeller, had to drive to Dubbo, get an impeller, fit it in the motor, basically rode off the entire Friday session. And that was with Greg Beattie and Richie Potter. And we still came back and we still ended up winning it. Richie subbed in because Duffy couldn't make it that year. So Duffy suffered the jocks. And I pulled Angler. Luckily, it pulled Angler of the Year up there twice as well. Over the year aside of that when we won it. But if I could win any tournament in the world, you've got to say the Bassmaster Classic. You have to. I know. Yeah, there's not like parallel it to. I know there's some massive marlin comps, but just to be there in that kind of stadium with however many 100,000 people and fireworks shooting out your butthole and all,
It's crazy. It's crazy. Look, for me, it would be AFC. I mean, growing up watching AFC, that would be my dream to win it in Australia. But yeah, obviously everyone wants to do the classic, the Bassmaster Classic. So that was a good question. I like that one.
Yeah, nice.
All right, let's look for some more. Another one here from Ricky. Changing your hooks or singles or assists, what are the advantages and disadvantages of?
On a Trans Am, for example, I always run singles or assist hooks. I can't really see many more disadvantages to advantages. The only thing was if you get snagged, a bit harder to get off maybe, but it's all advantages for me. The hookup's going to be better. They'll stay in a bit better, I find. But yeah, what do you reckon, David?
Yeah, mate. Windy in particular, just to avoid the weed. Like that slime weed is just a frigging nightmare, and it doesn't matter what lure's got trebles on it, it finds it no matter what. On your normal kind of jackals running singles, I generally don't. I know a lot of guys do, but anywhere else I don't. Because if you're running jackals, most of the time you're not under 10, 12 pound. And if you get the bloody thing snagged, you've got to tackle back or you can straighten the hooks anyway. So maybe if you're really worried about hook straightening on fish, maybe. There was a brand of split rings a very long time ago made out of titanium that were designed to open up at a certain poundage. So when you snagged up, your treble would snag and you'd pull tight on them, and the split ring would open up and the treble would fall off. But unfortunately, it'd do it on fish too. So you'd have your split ring open up and then just leave the treble on the fish. But singles are great, but I don't really run them too much else anywhere other than windy, really. It's mainly just to avoid the weed. Well, I know a lot of guys love running big singles and on other waterways, but whether it's snag resistance or whatever. But yeah, I just can't be stuffed.
No, that's fine. Which will lead into Jordan's question here. What lure retriever do you use?
I use a big tackleback. It's probably worth about $20,000.
Yeah, I use the same one. Just your tackle back with the chains. Generally use it, but I've also got a pole in the locker as well.
I got a pole as well. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't use it unless you make the joke of, oh, it's just paid for itself again. So
yeah, always.
Yeah,
Don't use a tackleback unless you tell them how much money it's worth.
That's right. So the gist of the tacklebacks. Now I've seen different setups. You just got it on the old hand reel, or have you got it actually on an old broken rod and a reel? I've seen guys using the tackleback like that, and it works a treat.
got it on some brickies line actually.
Yep.
Does get mouldy sometimes, but yeah, that's all right. It works.
Yeah, mine's on a big hand line. You can actually, there is, who makes it? I think Platypus? No, Alvi make one that's retractable. It's a retractable line. So that'd probably be handy if you wanted to go down that road. But yeah, I use the tackleback with a bit of wire on the front. So that diamondy shaped thing tends to work well. But yeah, sometimes you just can't get them back. Yeah, it's no hope. And blades are one thing. Blades don't like coming back. Yeah.
They're still giving it to you, Dave. I'm trying to read the questions and listen to you guys at the same time.
Yeah, I'm hosting a watch party, so I can't see any of the comments.
Oh, that's all right then. You don't want to. They're giving it to you. Where have we got? So both of you guys have got bass boats. So Mark's asked another question here about favourite or current boat setups, boat engine, electric. Tell us about your boats. Now, I might even have a photo of, we'll start with yours, Dave. We'll go the Green Rocket.
Yeah, so that's my girl. It's a 1996 Allison XTB 21, built in Louisville, Kentucky in the US. It's currently got a 250 horsepower Sport XS on the back of it. Electric is the old man motor, the Altera, the auto deploy. The guys at BLA and Minn Kota have always been a strong supporter of me for a very, very long time, and I'm incredibly appreciative of them for the electric and the Humminbird Sounders. But yeah, my old girl, I brought it into the country. I actually found the import documents the other day when I was cleaning out in 2005. And back then it hadn't been done much. So I organised overland transport in the US, the shipping from the US to here, everything myself. I've gone through 3 motors. The first motor I had on it I came over with it and it was just a little bit worked. So it was an animal. The oil injection to be removed, everything was premixed. It used to blow smoke everywhere. You know, it didn't like idling. But then you get to a point where you're just having to keep spending money when you blow up gearboxes and destroy props and blow powered. So I slowly settled down to what I got now. Not saying that it's any really slower than it ever was, but my favourite is no matter who comes up and asks me how fast my boat goes, just a little bit quicker than yours. That's the favourite.
And that's it is an extremely quick boat. And if people want to see how quick that boat is, I've actually got a video of it. We were at the Teams Championships year before last, and we took off from first. Langers and I took off from first place, and I had the Garmin camera on, so it gives you the speed. We're sitting at about 98 k's an hour, screaming up the dam, and I think Dave took off from about 32nd. And all of a sudden, you just see Gary Harmon in the big legend coming up the left-hand side of us, and we're watching that. And then you get a brief second to turn this side and watch Dave just fly past us, and we're doing 100 k's an hour, and you made us look like we're standing still. So crazy ride. So that's what Dave's using, Mark, and we'll bring that photo back up. That's your Skeeter there, Joshy. Tell us about your Skeeter.
Yeah, so I've had it for about 6 or 7 years now. Got pretty lucky. I was fishing a Bonejack event in an AYC. Walked past the bloke and he had a for sale sign sticker, for sale sign hanging off it. And I said, I'll swap you for the Quintrex Hornet. And he said, yeah, that's what I want. He said, I'm looking to downsize. So yeah, 2 days later, it was in the driveway.
Bonus.
Didn't waste any time on that one, and it's been a really good boat. So it's a Skeeter ZX190. It's got a 150 HO Evinrude E-Tech on the back, and electric. I'm using a Minn Kota Ultrex up the front, and I love it all. I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah, and you're fishing dams and stuff like that. You haven't got any rivers really to run in around Orange, have you?
Nah. The closest would be the Macquarie, but yeah, you flat out get the kayak in there most of the time, let alone a bass boat or any boat. So yeah.
Yeah. No. Awesome. There's the boat set up. So that's a great question. Keep the questions coming in. Dave, Richard Potter wants to know how many times Dave has nicked leader the night before a dash for cash.
Oh, that's him because he can't tie knots.
All right. Pete's written, not sure it's been asked why. What was your biggest yeller? So what is your actual PBs? We haven't actually
640.
640.
640 for me. I've had bigger ones caught on my boat in front of me by other people, but my biggest one is a 640.
So before you answer, Josh, 640 is your biggest that you've caught. What's the biggest you've seen landed?
I've seen a 680 on my boat. And that's a Windermere fish. And then, but that same weekend, I didn't have it confirmed, but someone I trust trust a lot says they saw a 700. So I'll take it with a grain of beer. But yeah, there's absolutely monsters in Windermere. There's things there that we know that haven't been caught yet. Yeah.
680. Wow. What about you, Josh? What's your record at?
642 is my biggest. That was in AYC. That was years ago. But the biggest I've heard of, and this bloke's very credible. He's probably one of the most well-respected anglers getting around, but he actually caught a 720 there, 100%. Full of piss, trolling a deception shrimp on a weed edge back in the early 90s, 720. So,
that is insane.
They're in there and they're bigger than that. I'd have no doubt that there is fish that 750 mark in there somewhere. We're just not getting them yet.
Holy schnapping ducks.
And that and Copeton. I reckon Copeton's probably got some big ones too.
Yeah, Copeton. Blurring and have them as well. I reckon.
Yeah.
One of the photos just played at the start where I look like I'm sunburnt to hell. That was blurring. So it's got some monsters in it.
Yeah. I do have some photos here. Like there's one with a nice yellow. Look at that. That's a dinner plate yellow. That one.
Oh, yeah.
What have we got there? There's another one. So a few nice.
He's always done there. Bloody hell. That was from like 2003, 4.
Oh, was it? I'll bring that photo back up. Hang on.
That's in my black poly, so it might have been 04, maybe 04, maybe 03. Yeah, in the Maui Gym sunnies.
And you had hair back then, Dave.
I still got hair, mate.
Not on your head.
It just migrates.
Just moves around. And Pete said, yeah, he's a 68. So that's a donkey fish, Pete. That's and he caught that at Eildon. So there you go.
Oh, Eildon. There's another one. They've got some absolute ponies in Eildon.
Yeah.
That's a waterway that I really want to put some time into over the next sort of 10 years, Eildon. I know everyone's sort of focused on the cod, but you've got as an average fisherman or a family orientated fisherman or somebody that's just getting into it, Eildon has everything. You've got massive populations of redfin, you got trout, you've got cod, you got big yellows, but the waterway itself is massive. And the thing I love about Eildon is all the houseboats. So literally, you could ring your mates up. You could all turn up to Eildon, jump on the houseboat, and tow your skeeters and that and whatnot, and just go and position yourself because the water's—it's just massive. So
Eildon, I hadn't been there for years until last year. We did a cod comp down there, run by Trellies Bait and Tackle out of Shepparton. I hadn't been to that Jerusalem Creek Marina, and it is brilliant. It's probably one of the closest setups to what you see in the US a lot. So in the US, you've got all these like bistros and restaurants on all their lakes and dams with tons of houseboats and jetties. And that's instantly what it reminded me of. So, yeah, it's really cool, really good setup, good tucker, good people. I'll be back there as soon as I can.
Yeah, they do if I'm right, somebody might be able to tell me, but they do the cod. They do a cod weekend, or the cod opening weekend, or the cod festival there, and they have a really big event there for that as well. Or it might be the trout festival as well. So yeah, it's massive waterway though. I went down there last year and fished a comp. Was one of the Central Victorian Lure Casters comps, and I went down by. I went down by myself, and I ended up running out of petrol.
So we did Blue Rock for the Central Vic Lurecasters boys with Shane and those lads. And then the following weekend was the Eildon comp with the Trelly was running. So we lucked in some of the shittest weather known to man for like 3 weeks straight. But, you're away fishing, so it's got to be good.
Yeah, that's it. Listen, keep the questions. Have you got, give us a winner, Dave? Have you picked the question there yet?
I haven't. I've got to have to think about that.
No, you do that, and Mark's picked me up. It's the Trout Festival opening in September, so there you go. Just go through and find us a winner. Let's see what else I've got in the comments box while you're reading that. What have we got? All right, so Josh, here's you can answer this one. Well, Dave's looking at his questions. Biggest influence on your fishing life and why?
That's a really hard question. Dad wasn't into fishing. He doesn't really, not a big fan of fishing. Brother's not into, he fishes a bit, but as a kid, I never really went fishing with my old man or grandpa or anything. So I guess I learned a lot, or got influenced a lot off TV. So Saturday Arvo Ritual, you'd see Fishing Australia, iFish, Rex Hunt, all those, and just seeing those guys catch fish and wanting to do the same. So I used to get Mum to drop me out to the lake. Used to have a bucket of bait. Used to buy from Kmart, full of soft plastics. None of them caught fish. Never caught a fish for years. The first couple of years I fished, but yeah, loved it and still love it. It took me about 4 or 5 years to catch a fish. It did. It's crazy.
That's amazing. Dave, what about you?
Yeah, I got a little bit. I got to blame the old man a little bit. I grew up fishing, so we used to spend a lot of time Patonga on the water and camping. And I think I owned a trout rod, a fly rod, in conjunction with my first spinning rod, and that was out on the Turon out Safala way, waving that thing a lot. But it'd have to be Dad back then as well. I don't think I would have had the exposure to it if it wasn't for the old fella, more than anything else. And Pop, Dad's dad as well. He was from that whole split cane fly rod era. So they were always in his garage, and he always had fly reels and fly line, the old catgut fly line, and that it's inspired the interest too. So yeah, and as you progress, it's all the people you meet. Like, I wouldn't know half the people I do from that if we hadn't have had events and tournaments and comps, and like you two lads, or half the boys that are watching right now, ladies that are watching right now, you wouldn't know them if it wasn't for that. So it all ties in together, and yeah, makes us what we are.
Yep. Bo has tied in asked a little bit more on that, so I'll bring this up. What's the first fish you three have caught? Let's start with Josh. What was your first fish that you actually caught?
So I think it was a school excursion. Took a little Kmart fishing rod with me and a bit of bread, and caught a puffer fish off a jetty, and I was chuffed. I was pretty chuffed about that one. It took me a fair few years to catch a first fish, so yeah, pretty happy with that.
You're taking one there, Dave. What can you remember that long ago?
Well, I don't remember it, but I've seen the photo. So It's Dad on a beach with me in nappies with one of those old yellow plastic hand reels that you had the hand reel on top and the handle underneath, and the handle held your hooks and sinkers in the handle. The lid came off, but it was on the beach, and it was a little dart about yay big, and that was. I was in nappies, so probably 25, 26.
Yeah, just a few years ago. Yeah, mine was already would have been at Lake Epilock for sure, because we used to go to Lake Epilock every Easter. We had an on-site caravan there, so it was definitely we used to go there fishing for reddies all the time. So excellent. My son's still on. He should be in bed. He's no swearing. Kids are still watching. Lloydie Brown said, "Love you too, Dave." Daryl Livermore. Daryl, look, we will be doing a trout episode in a few weeks, so I'll give you a report. But I am heading to Dartmouth in a few weeks' time to do a Chewin the Fat with Cap on the track episode. So look out for that on my YouTube channel. We'll be going to do a trout challenge at Dartmouth, so that'll be really cool. So have you picked the winner yet, Dave?
Yeah, I reckon old mate that was asking about the biggest yellow not so long ago. So if he would enjoy a $100 gift voucher to get a duff rod made.
That was Peter asked. Not sure if it's been asked, but what was the biggest yellow, boys? Yeah.
Yeah, give it to Pete. And if he wants to get in touch with me, shoot me a message or via either my personal page or the Diamond Dave Welfare Fishing Life page. I'll get him in touch with Duffy. So
excellent.
Yeah.
So Pete, you're obviously on there. You only just asked the question. So send Diamond Dave Welfare fishing page or
my personal page.
Yep.
And I'll get him in touch with Duffy. So
excellent. Well, we're running out of questions, guys. I think we're going to just be pulling it up. I can't believe that we've cranked over this time so quickly. Just going through the last few questions. Trout vessel, no. You guys got anything you want to cover?
Just anyone that we haven't really touched on too much tournament fishing, but anyone that's looking to get into tournaments, it's not as scary as it seems for some people. Definitely, like Dave said, that's how you meet great people, and the amount of stuff you learn from tournament fishing is incredible. So if you are looking to get into tournaments, being that Yellowbelly wise, AYC, definitely shoot me a message, shoot the AYC page a message. If that's something you are interested in, it isn't a scary big process. It's the best weekends of the year. So yeah.
Yeah, very welcoming. I found that it doesn't matter, put all the bullshit aside. If you turn up and you're new, people will help you out. And if you just go and approach people and be nice, turn up to somebody's campsite with a beer, they're gonna tell you, everything you want to know. So it's as good socially as what it is anything else. But you do learn, don't you?
Oh yeah,
100%.
It's the fastest way to learn about your chosen style of fishing that you'll ever have. Nothing will teach you faster. And the group of boys, everyone's so free with information. Boys and girls, I can't be sexist, but boys and girls will tell you exactly how to catch them, what they're doing, and particularly if you're struggling. I remember a Burrinjuck comp where there was some mates of ours that done really well off a tree. They put a group of young fellas onto that tree. They got their bag, and we were driving past, and the young fellas called us in, put us onto that tree, and we got our bag as well. So, sharing's caring.
I agree. And we got probably the one last question that I'm going to bring up here. I think you might be batting above your average here, but Joshy, you've just been asked out on a date by somebody in the other room of your house, I believe.
If you get me another beer, I'll think about it.
Has she got a sister?
You got a sister? She does, Dave. She's in Sydney as well.
Oh, hello.
Hello. We'll talk about that after we go off air. So that's all good. Hey, listen, guys, any shout outs you want to give? Obviously, Dave, you're BLA, Duff Rods. What
Yeah,
else? What else is up here?
big thanks to Duffy. You know, he's been building my rods for a hell of a long time. True mate, true gentleman, one of the stalwarts of the sport across the board. BLA, so Hummingbird and Minn Kota have been supportive of me for almost as long as I can remember. The first time I put a side imaging sounder on the boat, I was that obsessed with watching the screen, I ran into trees. So that was the beginning of a love affair with that kind of technology. But look, just the support of everyone that pays attention to what we do, jumps onto stuff like this, supports each other, and we all help each other. It's absolutely a positive thing, and more power for you for doing this as well, mate. Top stuff. We had a blast tonight.
Thanks, mate. I'm glad you did. Josh, you got any shout outs you want to give?
I do. Not so much. I've got some good sponsors, but there's a lot of tackle shops that I know that they might not be your official sponsor, but you go in there and they're giving you stuff fairly cheap. And I know there's not a great deal of margin in tackle shops and that sort of thing. So just a quick shout out to Canolis Marine. They've been really, really good to me over the years. Loomsy's Fishing Fix in Forbes and Outback Angler in Dubbo. All little guys, try and support little guys as much as possible, but
really good point.
Yeah, there's something that really helps.
Yeah.
Moving on from that, another little guy, Glenn Sue from Bassman. Really helpful. Glenn Sue really couldn't do anything. They couldn't do enough for you, really. Just two great people, awesome products. The guys at Pro Lure have helped me out a fair bit over the years, especially in the R&D sort of side. So that's a really cool company. They're always looking at going that next level. So keep an eye out for those guys. And Matt Perderer from Costa, he helps me out with some sunnies. Most of all, Daiwa Australia. So I've been on the Daiwa team for about 18 months now, and it was the first real crack at having a major sponsor. It's not about getting free stuff. It is pretty cool when they do send you some cool packages, but it is a way to take your fishing to, I guess, another level. Working with the team and having first-hand input in the products. And when you look behind the scenes and see how much work some of these big companies like Daiwa puts into building rods and building reels and lures and everything else, they're spending so much time to get the product that we want. So it's really cool to be a part of that, and to be with a company like that. Really, really, really cool. So do appreciate it at every point. It's really good.
That's awesome. Drop those into the links, guys. All your sponsors. Make sure you type them into the questions for people that do read and watch it tomorrow and whatnot, so they've got the opportunity. But whack it in the comments so people can look up those companies as well. All good stuff. Thank you both for coming on. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I can't believe that time has just gone like that. I believe we've given away all the prizes. Matty's given his away. We've done the postcode. Boothy's box has been won. The Kids Comp was amazing, the feed through, so I'll do some more on that. We have Rod Harrison on next week, so I'm really looking forward to getting some old school stuff out of Rod as well, and we'll just keep some stuff under my sleeve for what's coming up in future months. But we've covered everything Yellers tonight. Guys, I want to talk to you after we go off the air, so if you do cut out, just log back in through your normal login. Thanks everyone for being online. Thanks for everyone for supporting the show. Hey, I'm going to call it quits there. Thanks, guys. I've got to think of a catchphrase, but tonight we're going to go with say good day to your mum for me. So, ciao.
Thanks, mate.
There was.